Let's talk about something genuinely concerning and something I think action needs to be taken on. Gambling on Twitch, and especially how it can lead to, in this case, scamming people out of $300,000 to try and recuperate the losses from gambling because you believe you're somehow gonna win it back and win big if you keep putting more money into the system, and how gambling can get you and gambling addiction can trick you into spending more money than you could ever possibly afford to pay back. Sliker is a Twitch streamer who's very notable. I'm sure a lot of people watching this video have probably seen something from Sliker in the past or heard his name from another creator. Recently, Sliker found himself in controversy after a landslide of allegations against him, alleging he had scammed multiple content creators, fans, friends out of a total of $300,000. A ridiculous sum of money, and the only reason he did it was to recuperate gambling losses, while telling these people that he needed this money because his bank accounts were locked. But before we delve too deep into this video, I think it's important we discuss the bigger issue with gambling, especially paid gambling on stream. Gambling by its definition is wagering something in the hopes of winning more in return. And normally when you're gambling, the odds aren't stacked in your favor. The house always wins. Gambling can be incredibly addictive because of the high feeling you get when you win money back. And I'm saying that from experience. Legally, I can gamble, and I have done so in the past. And the one time I did gamble, I won double my money back. And because of that, I understand what that feeling is like, wanting to chase that feeling and win more money because you already won. But while you can win big in those situations, you can also lose even more, and statistically speaking, you will lose. There are people who win against those odds and make big money, but there are a lot more people who lose more money than they ever win from gambling, and it's a risk that simply isn't worth taking. Alongside that, the stress caused by gambling has been researched, and as cited in this Guardian article, research commissioned by a leading UK gambling charity, Gamble Aware, have found that problem gamblers were 6 times more likely to have suicidal thoughts or try and take their life, and could be 15 times more likely to do so. With 19% of people who gamble considering suicide in the past year, compared to only 4.1% of the general population who have considered suicide in the past year, while also in the past year 4.7% of gamblers had attempted suicide, compared to 0.6% of the general population. Obviously a much wider margin and a terrifying statistic. Gambling can be incredibly dangerous because of how addictive it is, and people who gamble and then lose big feel insecure about that. They're afraid to talk to other people about it. They're afraid to get help. They believe they can win that money back, so they keep putting money into a system where they're likely never going to win it back. And because of that, it can push them into a much worse mental state and lead them to feeling like they can't talk to anybody about their problems and get help. And sometimes they can amass a debt so big they could never afford to pay it back off. This has led to a wider discourse, with people questioning whether gambling should be allowed on Twitch, whether people especially should be able to do paid gambling with sponsors that are giving you the money that you're then using on the site to gamble. Pokimane released a tweet talking about how she thought gambling should be banned on Twitch, and in response, a content creator known as MoTV would release a statement saying that people like Mizkiv and Pokimane who were complaining about gambling were fucking pathetic, and that they were picking and choosing what's okay on Twitch. He also questions how gambling in a casino is okay, but gambling online isn't. Pokimane would release a response where she would argue that online gambling and Twitch platforming it allows for more people to become addicted starting from a younger age, especially because online gambling can be accessed by children. But in response, Mo would say that kids are underage and broke, so the only real way they could get that money is from their parents. That could be from getting small amounts of money that are really inconsequential, or stealing their parents' credit card, which at that point you could also argue the responsibility falls on the parents. Though I find it hard to agree with this argument or think it's accurate to the truth, because kids can access gambling, and not every kid has no money. But alongside that, it's not just kids gambling now that's the problem. It's the fact that young impressionable kids whose minds are still developing can watch online creators who are being paid to gamble and given money that isn't really theirs to use, and those kids then see them win big and as a result believe that they can win big themselves if they gamble. Those kids grow up with the mindset that gambling is more understandable, they enjoy gambling content so they're more likely to gamble themselves, and as a result it leads to them spending more money when they're older, or leads to potential more gambling addiction in a younger generation when they grow up to the point where they can gamble themselves with bigger money. And I'd like to give some anecdotal evidence of that from my own personal experience. When I was a kid, I used to be a big fan of CSGO gambling. CSGO gambling was this interesting way of gambling in a video game, where you could use the thing you'd won in-game, and as such, it would have some kind of merit towards it. Now, as a kid, I obviously didn't have the money to put into CSGO to buy these ridiculous skins. But because I watched so many people growing up who had bought these skins, it made me want to gamble myself in CSGO. That's led to today, where I now have a CSGO inventory worth $2,000. And I believe that's simply because I grew up watching content creators who had gambled in CSGO, and it led me to wanting to do it myself because I'd already been addicted to that content and the high that I was watching people experience in those videos. Young kids who are dumb-brained and very impressionable to gambling and other addictive influences are more likely to get engaged with those addictive influences when they grow up if they've engaged with content that shows them that they could win big from this gambling. But let's get back on the subject of Sliker. This situation started when a viewer leaked a video they'd received from Sliker. Within that video, Sliker would say the following.
Yo, Typhoon, what's up, baby? I hope you don't hate me on this. It's so cringe, and I'm cringe for asking my brother. Please do not hate me. Please, keep it personal as well. Basically, my bank account got locked. This has happened for like 3-4 days. I've been asking around people. Sadly, tomorrow is the last day until my credit starts getting fucked up. It got locked out, and I was looking for people that actually work and that I could ask if I could borrow from, and I'll pay back. Genuinely, give me 2 months and I can pay back. If you can't, no worries, my brother. If you can.
This is a clip of Sliker being incredibly manipulatory, talking to a viewer or sub about how he would desperately need some money from them because his bank account had been locked so that he wouldn't go in overdraft of credit or get in any kind of financial trouble. He says he doesn't want to put any pressure on them to give him money, while simultaneously talking about all the people who hadn't helped him and how he was struggling so much and how really he didn't really have anyone else to reach out to. It's an incredibly manipulatory video that makes the people he's sending it to believe that they should help him because otherwise they're a terrible person for not. But you see, the viewers weren't the only people Sliker was doing this to. Jake Lucky would release a tweet titled, "Twitch streamer Sliker has been accused of messaging dozens, possibly hundreds of viewers and streamers asking for money and failing to repay them, with some people giving him thousands of dollars and others even tens of thousands of dollars." Within this article, Jake Lucky would attach multiple screenshots of people who had talked to Sliker, and Sliker had asked money from them in return for paying them back once he'd got the money back or resolved his issues. But it wouldn't end here, because creators like Anomaly would come out about how Sliker had reached out to them and asked if he could borrow money from them, with Anomaly saying, "Don't trust people on the internet. How many times do I have to repeat the same thing? It doesn't matter if it's a nobody or somebody decently well known like Sliker. Anyone can be down bad and do something crazy." Myth would tweet, "Honestly, just here to farm impressions. Like this tweet of me getting scammed, you bored souls," where he attaches multiple screenshots of him talking to Sliker and Sliker asking to borrow money from him. Hey I'm B would talk about how Sliker had reached out to her and how she was just lucky enough to say no to him because it sounded sketchy. Oompaville would post saying, "Making a video, BRB. Thought I was helping a friend, not getting scammed by a scammer," where he would attach multiple screenshots of Sliker asking him for money. Mendo would post, "Really happy to announce that I officially joined the team scammed by Sliker. I even wrote, I'll start writing a twit longer in the conversation," where he would attach screenshots of Sliker also scamming him. But it wouldn't end there. Harris would release a post saying, "Over the last year, I have lent Sliker $30,000 and I have seen none of it back. I never really knew how many people he did this to until today. He told me so many times he'd pay me back, but I saw nothing." Furist would post, "Didn't want to tweet this out, but I feel like everybody deserves to know that I am also one of the people who Sliker borrowed money from. I lost $2,000 total, but my thoughts go out to his viewers that are in a worse financial position than me." Rugtuber posted, "I streamed with you, grew your TikTok account to 136,000 followers, showed you my financial struggles, and yet you tried finessing me. Over 17.5 months, you kept asking me for money till literally 8 days ago." Slime, member of the Yard podcast and Ludwig's roommate, would post, "Sucks to dogpile a fellow bold, but Sliker also extracted wealth from yours truly. He asked to borrow $1,000, I said yes, then he asked for it in GBP, I said okay and sent, and then he instantly asked for another 7,000 more pounds. I said no, don't pay me back, and don't ever ask me for money again. NRG Flex Ninja would post, I almost got. Mans is scamming people left and right like it's RuneScape. Sliker, I hope you learn from this. The Veil would post, add me to the fucking list. At that time, I couldn't afford it. And they would attach a video that is particularly interesting here. This video that Sliker sent the Veil was an incredibly vague video that was generalized and made in a way that he could send it to as many people as possible without having to re-record or change anything in it, so that he could get as much money out of people from just sending them this video and hoping that he could play on their heartstrings enough that they would be willing to give him any amount of money. In this video, he says the following.
Yo, bro, I'm sorry to bother you, bro, but, yeah, like, I'm sorry for messaging you on Discord, but, yeah, bro, like, I have a problem with myself, and it's basically my bank got locked. It's part of this tax issue that, quote unquote, has not been paid, but, you know, fucking pissing shitty UK bank, whatever. I'm gonna sort it out, trying to sort it out with my accountant soon. If I ask to borrow money off you, is that possible? Now you're gonna be like, wait, why is he asking me? I've asked a few streamers out there, bro, they do not want to help.
It is insane he says that, considering how much money he got from other streamers.
They don't want to help, or they ignore me. That's the thing. And one removed me, but there's no hate, you know. Some people thought I was hacked. But yeah, like I said, if you can, I'll even pay you in the middle of the month, and I'll even give you extra if you can. Again, like I said, I'm so sorry for this, bro, but if you can, please, it will help me out a lot.
Obviously a very manipulatory video that preys on people's sympathy to try and farm any money he can out of them, while making it incredibly generalized so he can get as many people as possible with this. Dexerto would post that streamer Maya revealed she denied Sliker's request for $2,000 to $3,000, telling him to just go live for the money.
He asked you for money too?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, how much did he ask you for?
Like 2 or 3, I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
God damn.
No, I was just like, go live.
Oh my god.
It's okay. I don't know.
So how did you know not to give it?
Because he's a streamer. I was like, go live.
It's a fair response. You're a streamer, you have a platform, you have an audience who gives you money through gift subs, etc. He's a well-established creator at that. Just go live. Make the money yourself instead of begging other people for it. If you can't gamble off of your own back, you shouldn't be gambling off of other people's. But another person that was scammed was Ludwig. Because of course, Ludwig got scammed. He gets scammed by everybody, apparently. Ludwig says in this clip the following.
You know who else got scammed? Hey, who's got 2 thumbs and is really susceptible to getting scammed by people? Me, this guy. I also got scammed. Sliker asked me for money about 10 months ago. He just said he was in a super urgent need. He sent me a bunch of screenshots of like a bank account that he owed money to, like a credit card. And it's like $15K. And he's like, I need money right now. And I was like, all right. And I was kind of weird about it. So I just sent him all the money that I had in like a cryptocurrency. It was like a little less than $1,000. It's like, I think like something I had on Cash App. Like, there you go. This is yours. Have it. And I sent it like I do when most people ask for money, never expecting it to come back, because I will never, ever, 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 ever ask for somebody to give me money back, which is a problem in this situation because it also allowed for him to get away with it longer.
Never expect your money back if you ever lend money to anyone. That's 101. That's probably the best life advice you're ever gonna hear from me in a video. I've lent money to people before, obviously haven't got it back. Don't lend money to people unless you're willing to acknowledge that you probably aren't gonna ever see that money. And you're just gonna have to part with it, and by all means, just accept that that money is no longer yours. You've effectively given it to the other person. If it does come back to you, that's great, but it probably won't. I don't know how Ludwig always gets scammed. He's really gotta get better at this. But one of the worst people who got scammed was Luke. Luke discusses being scammed in this clip.
I'm actually like incredibly uncomfortable. And this is like super embarrassing, but I don't really know what else to do about it at this point, bro. I don't know what to do. I lost 27,000 from giving a lend to
Love it.
Sliker.
$27,000 he took just from one person. An insane amount, a life-changing amount for most people that he took from random streamers with the promise of returning. That's terrifying. That amount is terrifying alone, and the fact that any streamer agreed to that, nonetheless expected to get it back, is actually shocking. But the person who probably got it the worst was Trainwreck. Sliker himself would admit how much he got from Trainwreck in this clip.
But Trainwrecks, I would message him. I'd be like, bro, I'm in a situation. And he gave me like $150,000. No, sorry, not 150, $100,000. And I know people are going to be like, the people I owe, you're going to be like, what? I have borrowed in a month. I had to pay 50,000. In a month, I would have to pay someone 50,000.
Sliker put himself in an incredibly dangerous situation. One where, because he kept gambling, he was never going to get out of. Instead of working to make that money back, he continued gambling, thinking he could somehow win it all back, or constantly asking more people for more money when he would lose the money he'd just received. It was a constant cycle that was only going to get worse with time. But one of the saddest stories here is that of the chemo patient who Sliker also scammed. Sliker clearly had nobody that was off the limits here, except for people that were likely underage. But Sliker would confess to all of this on a stream and discuss why it started, and he has a similar story to me.
Ever since CSGO, not to blame, but ever since CSGO Lounge came out, it was the first time I went on that site, and it was a fun place to be on. You know, gamble skins and stuff, and wow. Eventually I found out you could gamble with money.
This all started because he started gambling in CSGO. I think this is the point in the video where I say, I don't believe Sliker should have a platform anymore. Sliker has misused his platform and his reputation with other creators to leech them for $300,000 for a gambling addiction that was only getting worse. Addictions like these are incredibly destructive to you and people around you, as has been seen in this situation very clearly, and Sliker is clearly not somebody that should be trusted with his platform when it's used in this way. It feels harsh or cruel to say to someone who's clearly struggling, but he's not in a position, especially mentally, where he should have this platform anymore. However, there would be an announcement by XQC that would make a little more of a positive ending to this situation. XQC would offer to go 50-50 on repaying everyone with train wrecks, refunding everyone who got scammed by Sliker and lost money.
You know what? I'll throw an offer out there. Okay, I'll throw a curveball, okay? And I will stick to my word. If Train wants to, if he wants to join forces with me on a 50-50 split, okay, I will refund half of everybody who has been scammed of any money, a singular dollar with proof. We'll go through all of them and we'll refund them. If she wants to go 50-50. How about that?
An incredibly generous offer that wouldn't be met by train wrecks, but instead Ludwig. XQC would post, "We are aware about the Sliker situation and the victims who were scammed out of their hard-earned money. Heartbreaking. Me and Ludwig will be trying our best to get the money back to those people. This is about the victims, only them. This will take time. It's $300,000 or more." This is an incredibly generous offer that Ludwig and XQC have made, and I really appreciate that they're doing something to repay the people, especially the people who need that money more, and couldn't really afford to give it away, but gave it away because they felt sympathetic of the story they were being told. To end this video, I'd like to know your opinions on gambling on Twitch. Do you think people should be able to do paid promotions in which they gamble on stream? Honestly, I'd love to hear more perspectives, because I'm not sure if I have the right take here, but I do really believe there's way more harm than good. And I think when you're advertising and marketing gambling on streams to an audience of people, it can be incredibly dangerous. I don't think you should be able to gamble, especially with real money on streams. But even more than that, I don't think a company should be allowed to pay you for you to then gamble with the money they've given you. That seems outright wrong to me. With that being said though, I'll see you next time. If you are new to the channel, or this video informed you on a situation that you were otherwise uninformed on, please do consider subscribing to the channel to help me reach, what's the next goal after 100k? A mil? I'd appreciate any kind of support to help me get there. Feel free to check out my Twitter too if you'd like to support me over there and help me reach 10,000 followers, so if something bad happens to this channel, I can actually get help with it. Feel free to join my Discord if you'd like to join a Hellspawn community filled with HarleyTBS fans and incredible artists. I would appreciate any kind of support over there as well. And with that being said, I'll see you next time. Peace.
Said she wanna rock with a nigga like me. I'm a stylish guy. Spend a little guap with a nigga like me. We can catch a fly. Said she wanna rock with a nigga like me.